Hi everyone, and welcome to the Cover Conference 2017. We're here in Spain, in Madrid.
My hometown.
I'm here with Pablo, and you may be able to guess that Pablo has some connection with Spain.
Yes.
Yeah.
Pablo Bandera, born here.
You were born in Spain?
Born in Spain, the Barrio de Chamberí. Yep.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
And then you moved to the United States?
Then moved to the States for a while, then moved back to Malaga for a while, and kind of went back and forth my whole life. So.
Okay. Yeah, I was standing next to you when we were getting lunch, and you were just like Spanish, like this, with the people giving us lunch.
No, I am at least partially raised here in Spain.
Yeah. I need you to talk for me while we're here, because I have no idea what to say.
Okay.
That one.
Yeah, just learn the foods. That's the important thing.
That's good. Awesome. Well, Pablo is giving a talk on the Internet of Things.
Yes, the Internet of Things.
So this was a kind of a new phrase for me. What is the Internet of Things?
All right. The Internet of Things is, as the name might imply, it is the Internet, but taken out of cyberspace and put into the world of things, the world of physical objects. So it is the notion that all of the world around us, the rooms and the physical space and the objects around us will be embedded with all sorts of sensors and wireless technology that connects everything to everything else, so that as you're walking around in the world and participating and doing things and working in a factory or going to a store or even in your own house, you are always connected to the things around you, the same way that when you're on the internet, you're always connected to other websites around you. You can click on whatever link you want, so things like Alexa and stuff like that are small examples of that.
So this sounds like not if this will happen, but when this will happen.
It's already happening. It is happening, yes.
Yeah.
It's not a futurist sort of thing. It's happening now.
Okay, yes. And do you find some good things about this?
Oh yeah, I mean I have to, because it's actually my job to design and build things for this.
Okay.
So I have to find some good things. I get paid for it. That's one good thing about it. It's not all just the evil of the internet, that's not where I'm coming from here on this. Mm-hmm. But there are dangers, there are implications, in particular with how people relate to each other and how we interact with each other.
So most people listening to this will probably freak out about Big Brother.
Right.
Because if everything's connected, everybody will know what we're doing, and you can't get away from it.
Right. That's that's not really the angle I'm coming at from. I mean, that's a perfectly valid concern. Mm-hmm. Is if we're all connected and everything, does that mean the government is always watching us, or stuff like that? Yeah, fair enough. There's concern about privacy and things like that. That's a separate issue. That's more of a logistics issue, or how do you kind of handle those kinds of things, between, how do you put the right laws in place or the right policies in place to protect privacy and things like that.
But you have a different way of...
Yeah, I'm more concerned with the fundamental problem of how human beings interact and communicate and relate with each other, which is one of the things that make us human. Yeah. Human beings there is no such thing as a human alone in the world. Human beings are by nature, right, by definition, social and collective, right? So my initial approach was to think, okay, being human beings, that, we define ourselves by how we relate to each other. You go to the internet, where we are super connected to everyone all the world. We are now relating to millions and millions of people at the same time. What does that mean? But now with the concept of the Internet of Things, the Internet of Things is essentially taking that whole interconnected world and bringing it back into the physical world, and taking that interconnectedness and making it part of our actual physical world around us. So now we're not, whereas before we were really interacting people, person to person, and we would have physical objects, we are now interacting with physical objects instead of with people, or through physical objects to other people. Our interactions are now more and more being mediated by physical objects. They were mediated by the internet, now they're being mediated by physical objects through the internet. That's what the Internet of Things really is. So my paper explores, what does this mean? What are the implications of this for humanity, you know, at a fundamental level, if our way of interacting with each other now has fundamentally changed, where we're now really interacting with the physical objects around us, you know, in order to communicate with each other.
What do you think it means?
In my paper, I put it in terms of Girard's concept of horizontal versus vertical transcendence. And it seems to me that when two people are communicating with each other, there is both. There's a horizontal transcendence defined by sort of our mimetic relations to each other and with the community around us. But there's also a vertical transcendence, which is, in the religious sense, God ultimately is the ultimate transcendent truth. But still, there is that vertical transcendence which kind of defines our relationship to each other and our place within the world and all that stuff. And if everything is being kind of mediated by the physical world around you, basically what you're doing is flattening that whole thing, and everything becomes horizontal transcendence, which in Girard's terminology really is deviated transcendence, a kind of pseudo-transcendence. And this is really what concerns me, that we're essentially, when we move from a normal human interaction into the internet, into cyberspace, you kind of eliminate that vertical transcendence. You create your own horizontal transcendence, purely horizontal relationships. It's all flat, contextless relationships, which is kind of scary enough as it is if you kind of live in the internet, you know, and we're seeing all sorts of disorders, you know, in younger people now where, you know, they have hard times relating to people and operating in the real world. They only know how to work in the virtual world, which is, and virtual world means horizontal world, not vertical. Now the Internet of Things is essentially taking that world and bringing it back into the physical world. So now we're kind of living in a real physical world which is horizontally flattened. That seems like it should be a cause for concern for us.
Yeah, yeah. So as you're working in this, you said earlier that it's not, so there are some good things about it, there are some dangerous things about it. What might be some of the good things that could come out of this?
The good things are, you know, all the things that are usually touted about the Internet of Things. You know, the interconnectedness of the things. It makes it easier to relate to other people, right? We are connected. Makes us much more connected to the things around us. You know, makes everything more efficient and easier and stuff. But just like anything that's easier, it's nice that it's easier, but easier could also lead to laziness, can also lead to stupidity. You know? So you know, there's good and bad in all of that. It's the same thing I tell my kids on a regular basis. You know, there's nothing inherently evil about video games or the internet. I mean, it's all good. But when you replace the real world with the virtual world, that's where it starts to become a problem.
Are there ways that we can counteract the dangers of it, do you think, or?
I don't offer any, solid solutions. I don't have a solution to the problem. I think it's not a problem that can simply have a single solution. Yeah. Honestly, the best, for me personally, the responsibility is to make sure I keep my eyes on things that are above, you know, that I don't forget the vertical transcendence that gives significance to all of this, everything I'm talking about. So the solution is for everyone to do that. How do you make everyone do that? Yeah. That's a tough problem. Yeah.
That's good. Good. Awesome. Well, Pablo, thank you so much for talking with us today about the Internet of Things.
Internet of Things.
Yeah. Awesome. Great. And thanks everybody for watching. You can keep up to date on COV&R at religionandviolence.org. Once again, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.